Good evening, Leroy. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. How are you tonight?
Doing well. It's nice, I think, for both of us that we kind of get some time, some rest and recovery time, just a little bit. For that, and
couple days. I got basketball Friday and Saturday, and then one of the guys is going to be gone. He begged and bartered to have me work for him on Saturday, so I have a couple hours that I have to work on Saturday. But I'm not working tomorrow at all, and I'll have most of Friday off. So not too bad. Not too bad.
And even it's not like you're really working on Friday. You're broadcasting high schools. Like for us, it's like it's the part of our job that we actually somewhat enjoy.
The good part of our job. Paul's been telling me that he's been really, really excited for tonight.
I wonder why. I don't
know why he's so excited.
I wonder why. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about MLB Hall of Fame ballot. Came out. Leroy and I are each going to come through our ballots.
Look forward to you telling me how wrong I am on my picks. Looking forward to it.
Of course. Leroy, I'm looking here. I don't know that James Shields is a Hall of Famer. I think we're going to have
there's a few guys on that list. I'm just like, I don't see it.
Oh, Paul is frying a turkey. If y'all see a big cloud of smoke off in the distance, you can probably guess why. Paul, I'll take deliveries. Do you deliver? Because I'm more than willing to accept that. Leroy and I are both going to talk about why football sucks. And then I have a little bit of rant here to start off the show, or at least a story time as well. Oh, he's doing a turkey tomorrow. What time should we be there, Paul? I'm open to potentially trying that. Well, play clock, logos, and everything. But first, we have to recap our picks of the week. Leroy, I've got some good news for you.
I actually got one right.
You had your best week ever in the pick contest. Thank 7 out of 9.
Only took all season long.
And the downside to you is that I also got 7 out of 9 in there.
Freaking knew you suck, man. So I knew it was too good to be true.
We tied at 7 last week. That brings our total to 78 to 61 is the overall total. Running down the picks from last week, we both were right in predicting South Carolina to beat Kentucky. We both were right Northwestern beating Purdue and Western beating Sam Houston State. We were both correct in predicting the Ravens to beat the Bengals. We'll come back to that a little bit later on. We'll also come back to the Lions defeating the Bears. We were both right there. I was right in the Eagles. Leroy, you were right in saying Arizona would beat Utah. I was correct in saying the Broncos would beat the Vikings. And yes, Leroy, you were correct in saying that Paul would beat me in fantasy. Now, I do have to say that Paul, listen, Paul's got to back me up here. I had some awful injury luck last week. Mark Andrews, my starting tight end, gets hurt early in the game. Cooper Kupp gets hurt earlier. A-Chain comes back, gets hurt early. So 3 of my leading scorers got me nothing. And because of that, Paul absolutely destroyed me. So congrats, Paul.
And I must say,
he says here, 3 brutal injuries.
We haven't reached that segment yet, but I just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with Sam Gormley as he goes through this rough time.
Listen, Dan, don't even talk to me about Mark Andrews' injuries. It doesn't. We'll come back to that in a little bit. But Leroy, I got story time here to start off. This is like story time.
There we go.
You don't have any idea what this is about. I think I brought it up to you before, but recently they have brought fiber internet to my area.
Okay.
So we'll just say that. And they came and they said, would you like to upgrade to fiber internet? It'll be a lot better. And I was like, sure, why not? They said it'll cost you the same. I was like, sold, done, great. Got it about a month ago. They come, they set it up. It works pretty well. Occasionally, though, it would drop out, but it would drop out for about 10 seconds. Didn't think anything of it. It's great. Oh, Paul's an internet guy. Oh, so Paul, you might be one of these guys that I'm going to be complaining about. I hope not. Last weekend, I get home from the high school football game, the Cougars, the one that they lost.
Yeah.
Didn't have internet. And Daniel, we'll come back. I see your comment there. We'll come back in a minute talking about the Andrews injury and stuff. Regardless. But I came back last Friday, didn't have internet. So I'm thinking, okay, never know. So I unplug, do what anybody does, unplug the router, plug it back in. Internet comes back. It's great. I'm thinking, okay, who knows? Could have been anything. Wake up the next morning, no internet. So I'm thinking, interesting. That's a little bit odd. Gonna have to figure out what this is. I was having to go to a center game and then go to the Bengals game. So I didn't have time to deal with it that morning. Didn't get back till late Sunday, still no internet, did the same thing, but it shut off. So I contact my internet provider. They send someone out. What's interesting is it gets to this, is that Monday morning, I am in conversation with them and they say, hey, we're going to send someone tomorrow between 1 and 3. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, it's tomorrow. I can live another day without internet. It is, I'm not that addicted. I am sitting there at work working, and all of a sudden I get a phone call that same day. Hey, we're at your house. Why aren't you here? And I'm like, I didn't know you were coming. So I rush home. Turns out it was one of the two techs was one of the people that used to work on our crew here at the station. So it was kind of interesting there. They fixed the problem. Great. They said something was wrong outside. They had to tighten something. I'm like, great. Phenomenal. It's done. All week it worked great. I get home Monday from work. No internet. Same issue happened. So again, I'm like, well, crap. And at this point, so I get on my phone and I schedule the appointment for yesterday, to fix my internet. Like, great. It's phenomenal. My appointment was between 1 and 3. I got home from lunch and just brought everything home so I could work from home and do this. So that when they came, I was here to fix this.
Yep.
About 1 o'clock, I get a text message that says, hey, we're on the way. We're coming. I'm like, okay. Great. Phenomenal. And it says, it's real fancy. It says like, hey, here's your guy. Here's where he is. And he's coming. And it says he's at my house. So I'm like, phenomenal. Great. An hour goes by. No one shows up. No one. No one shows up. And then I get a text message that says, we have fixed your problem. And thank you for doing business with us. And I'm like, no, you haven't. No one even came. So I get back in contact with them. And I'm like, listen, nobody came. I'm like, I'm not happy. Like, this is beyond me, like, being, like, I feel like I have a right to be a little bit mad here. So that brings us to today, that I rescheduled the appointment for today. The guy calls me at noon. Appointment was between 1 and 3. He calls me at noon, says, are you here? I'm like, well, I was driving in. I was like, perfect. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Like, sold, you can be an hour early. It's not going to complain. And he comes in and he goes, why weren't you here yesterday? I said, me? He says, there was no car out front. I said, what time did you get here? He says, 1 o'clock. I said, dude, I was here at 1 o'clock. Like, I was here the entire time. And he starts arguing. And we're like having an argument in here over whether the guy had shown up or not. And I'm like, dude, like, this is not me. Like, I was physically here. Like, I had my front door open. And he says, this is. And he's sitting, like, trying to argue with me. And I'm like, dude, like, for one, like, what happened to, like, customers always right in a lot of realms with that? And I mean, here's the thing. I'm not making this up. Finally, he fixes the problem. It's called Windstream, Paul. Windstream.
My mom legit just had this. They're having all kinds of leaks with their roof, and it's leaked into the bathroom. So they're having the bathroom redone. My mom was sleeping on the couch next to the dog. And the guy called, my dad called and said, hey, you never showed up today. What happened? He goes, well, I knocked on the door. I rang. Nobody was there. And my dad's like, my wife was sleeping in the living room. There's a big bay window. Like, you can see inside. And he's like, you weren't here. And the guy was like, no, I was there.
Yeah. It was just like, and it was one of those things where I was like, listen, like, you weren't here. Yeah. He says and he literally tells me, and I quote, there were 3 big trucks like this, and he points to his truck outside. I don't know how you missed them. And I had to bite my tongue being like, well, brother, because they weren't there. Unless you've invented invisibility, they weren't there. And finally, it got to the point where I literally was like, am I really going to have to be the big man here? And I just, you know what? It doesn't matter. Can you just fix the problem?
Right.
And he goes, yes. So it turns out it was the guy that installed it, gave me a router that wasn't the right router and something, but still. So
I look forward to discussing this again next week.
Yes. It was a router issue, supposedly, is that they've been having issues with this specific brand of router. He gave me like a Nokia brand or a Nikon brand or something like that, and it really should have been that problem. because that one likes to drop out or something. And he was trying to explain it to me, and it got to the point now, and Paul, I'm sure you run into this with customers all the time, is it was like, listen, I don't care, just fix it. Like, just, because I knew in a lot of ways, I mean, I had the podcast tonight. I didn't want to have to go to work and record it.
Yeah. You didn't want to go.
What's that? What's that? Who's at work right now?
This guy. But I go to work because it's quieter at work than it is in my house. That's why I go.
Yeah, but for me, I was gonna have to go because I physically didn't have internet. But it's I mean, listen, the fiber internet that I've had when it works is great, because you even realized, Leroy, that we would have some episodes of the show where occasionally I would have a little bit. It wasn't major internet issues.
Well, and so we've been talking about that. There's a very local company that's actually won a crap ton of awards for their internet. Well, because they've done so well, they sold out. So a bigger company bought them because they've been so successful. Well, ever since that new company bought them, it's like my wife can't get internet in our kitchen, which is crazy because like anywhere else in the house, you can get internet. And it's like, dude, it's like 15 feet away. Like what's the problem?
Even when I had the old internet, I mean, my router is, so I have a door right here. And the router is on the other side of this door. It is maybe 15 feet away. And it would struggle in here. And I was almost getting to the point, like, am I really going to have to invest in a mesh network, like a Google Wi-Fi or something, to get me into the office? And luckily, I haven't run into that issue. But I was just kind of like, and Leroy, I ask you in this, is like, was I not like, was I okay to get a little? I don't know if snippy was quite the right word, but like the man didn't show up, and my biggest issue was, like, for one, why are you arguing with me? And two,
he was right and you were wrong.
Yes, but he wasn't right. Like I
don't necessarily. I mean, listen, I'm not the best guy to talk to because I lose my temper way too easily with these people. It's like you have one job. Like if you say you're going to be there at a certain time, then I expect you there around that time. Like. It's literally, I mean, especially because stuff is so expensive right now anyway. Like you're already paying.
Well, and that's exactly what I told them, was that, like, I am paying you a lot of money a month for this internet. I should be able to get it. And then the other thing that goes on top of it is they have a rule. I'm not even sure like how this is like legal. I'm not a lawyer, but they say that they can fine me $50 if I'm not there. So what I told the chat yesterday is I said, so now do I get $50 because you didn't show up? But the guy, when he walks in, he says, yeah, I got a real nasty message from people that I didn't show up yesterday. And I was like, well, because you didn't. But I'm sorry, Leroy. I needed to get that off my chest.
Do you feel better now?
No, I'm still kind of annoyed about it.
It's gonna be great when you wake up tomorrow morning and you have no internet.
Well, see, the worst part about that is, luckily, I'm headed. You know, I'm headed to Northern Kentucky this weekend, so it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But like, if I was home, do they work on Friday? They probably do. I would assume they probably work on Black Friday, but it's not a guarantee that they don't. But Paul, I guess my question is if it goes out again, can you just drive up here and fix my internet for me?
He charges by the mile, Sam.
And then also bring some of that fried turkey as well. I gave you a free fantasy win last weekend. I feel like it's all you can.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is. I let you win, Paul.
It all comes back to that.
Leroy, switching gears. Football sucks, doesn't it?
Boy, I hate that sport. Oh my gosh, I hate football with a.
Why are we fans of sports?
And the thing that gets me is like, well, just switch to a different team. I can't do it. Listen to the people, and I know there's a few people that have switched allegiances to their football team. More power to you. I just can't do it. Here I will, and I'll do it if the game gets flexed. And the game gets flexed, but the Bears are scheduled to play the Vikings on Monday night. Guess who will be sitting right in front of his TV, yelling at the TV? But listen, we got to talk. We have to talk about this, about both of our football games, because
do you want to start or me start?
I'll start because you just went on a rant, and I'll give you a little bit of time to save your voice.
I'm gonna take a swig of my drink.
Yeah,
here.
that's fine. That's fine. So we got to talk about the football game, and luckily, thank God it's our podcast, and I can't get shut up. So,
I mean, you theoretically can, because I could just do this and mute you that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
That's what I'm here for.
The Bears dominated. Listen. They are playing a very good Lions team. This isn't your dad's Lions. This isn't your older brother's Lions. This is a very good Detroit Lions team. And the thing is Goff sucked. Goff had probably his worst game ever, and the Bears couldn't capitalize on it. They got 24 points, but it's like you felt like it should have been a 40-0 game. That's how bad the Lions were playing. And the Bears couldn't capitalize, but they had a decent lead, and we all thought everything was fine. But I don't understand how – and listen, this is not the first time this has happened. This isn't the first time it's happened where they've had a big lead at halftime or had a decent lead at halftime and then just completely changed their game plan in the third and fourth quarter and allowed the other teams back in. It absolutely infuriates me because it's like, listen, I don't understand how you abandon everything that you've worked at unless the team is just horrible at making adjustments in the third and fourth quarter, which could very well be the case because I ran some numbers. The Bears have scored in the second quarter in every game except one. That was the game that they got blown out by the Chiefs. Okay? The Bears only scored double digits.
Thanks for that.
Yep, you're welcome. The Bears have only scored double digits in a quarter 6 times all season. 44 games or 44 quarters, 6 quarters. That's it. The most goose eggs the Bears have put up per quarter is the third, where the Bears have only scored in the third quarter in 5 games. And they've been outscored. It's 124 in the first half, 106 in the second half as far as total points that they've scored on offense. The Bears are crappy at making halftime adjustments. And I guarantee if I went back to last year and I looked at their games from last year, it would be the same thing. They just can't play third and fourth quarter football. And that falls on coaching. You can say what you want about Justin Fields and, Fields sucks in the fourth quarter. He can't win a game. He's not clutch. And that could very well be the case. But let's face it, when you break this down, the Bears coaching is awful. And if I was in charge of anything, they'd be gone right now. I don't even care about the rest of the
Fire everyone.
Because you are down. So what do? You, after doing play action all game, you run it up the gut on a halfback dive. Then, guess what? You do it again. 2 times in a row. Then you throw it up in the air to the rookie. And listen, some people blame the wide receiver on that. Some people blame Fields on that. But let's face it. If you're doing a Hail Mary throw on third down, you've already given up. You've already given up if you're throwing a third down Hail Mary. Because you don't have anything in your playbook designed to do something that gets you out of bounds and runs 7 seconds off the clock. I'm fine with that. They're both crappy, Alex. I'm telling you. It's just
I personally think that Matt Canada should have been given a lifetime extension, but that's just
the Lions are a good team, and the Bears blew it. And I'm so tired of this happening every single week. I hope the Lions win the rest of the year. I'm fine with that. I lived in Michigan for a long time. I support the Lions the rest of the way. But it absolutely infuriates me when you have games like that where you should win and you just fall flat on your face because your coaching staff doesn't believe in your team. And that's what that game boiled down to, is the coaching did not believe that Justin Fields could win that game. Ooh!
I agree with Daniel. Okay, I think he said I would have been fine with Matt Canada lifetime extension. I think we should petition his firing. Something that Daniel and I will actually agree with when it comes to football. Okay, we've both had our rants. Should we? Let's just go like a minute, or you know what? Let's even do this. Let's do this here because we actually have a lot to talk about. Let's just do 40 seconds of depression.
You got any sad music you can play in the background of just
Let's see. I think I've deleted. Yes. Well, here. I guess this is the only music I have in the background. Let's see if it works. Joe Burrow is out for the season with a right wrist injury. I was extremely, extremely sad. As T.O. once said, that's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback.
It's my quarterback. It just sucks because I need a drink. Get a little choked up here. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, this was a year for the Bengals to do something. And now it's up to Jake Browning. And that's all I have. That's all I got.
You feel better?
No.
So,
Friday, it happened. Obviously, listen, I'm sure if you watch this, you know we're talking about the Joe Burrow injury out for the season.
Yep. And
I'm very open on the air during my games that I'm a big Bengals fan. And so they had like a high school basketball, like they call it Meet the Cougars night here. So it was where they literally just trot all the teams out. I interview the coaches, I interview some players and so on. And at the game, it was hilarious that I had probably half a dozen different people ask me, "Are you okay? Like with the Burrow injuries?"
No.
I'm like,
"No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all okay. Not even just a little bit." Yeah, it was Meet the Cougs night. So we got to meet the Cougs. I mean, how many backup quarterbacks are now the starters? It is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
This year, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot have started games, but enough with the depression, Leroy.
Yeah,
I'm okay. Happy times. How about the MLB Hall of Fame ballot?
Yes,
was released earlier this week.
Yes,
and
the
so what
ballots were released, and we Sam and I both took some time to go over these ballots and take a look and say who gets in this year, who will eventually get in, and who really shouldn't be on that roster to begin with.
So we're just gonna say, of course, Chase pops in right now when we're talking about baseball. Let's just go through. I have the ballot right here in front of me, Leroy, and let's just go one by one and say because I think you get up to 10 votes on your ballot.
Correct.
Let's go through people that we would vote for, and let's just go in order and start off Bobby Abreu. Leroy, does he get your vote? Yes or no?
Bobby Abreu absolutely gets my vote. He's had a heck of a career. And I was looking at his WAR numbers today, and his WAR numbers were fairly high. When you look at Bobby Abreu and his Hall of Fame stats, he's sitting at about a 60 career WAR, 41.6 for a 7-year peak average, and he slates right in between a few of the Hall of Very Good, but I think he's got just enough where I'd vote for Bobby Abreu to be in. I think he had a very, very good career and was finished in the MVP voting a few times, and I think honestly I would vote for him, but I know he's definitely going to be Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, no, I would not vote for him. I would not personally vote for him. Jose Bautista, which I'll start it off. I'm going to say no. I think he's probably the Hall of Very Good as well.
Yep, and I agree with you on that. Bautista, no. And Bautista will never get in.
The next one is really interesting. Carlos Beltran. Leroy.
See, and again, the stats back up Carlos Beltran, but I think he falls into the Hall of Very Good as well. I was looking him up a little bit earlier today, and I had I had an interesting stat as far as like where he sits among some of the other guys. And what were you going to say?
I was going to say how much of that has to do with his involvement in, because he was involved in the whole Astros thing, was he not?
He was, and I think that's going to hurt.
I think we have two factors with this. Does that play a factor, and should it play a factor?
It does play a factor, but it shouldn't. So he won Rookie of the Year. He was a All-Star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. He's got a WAR of. See, and I have him in.
I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you, Leroy. When we were going through this, I didn't have on my bingo card that you would be bringing up WAR. Like, I respect it. I just didn't think you were going to be pulling out WAR stats here.
Yeah, so he's got a 70.1 career WAR, and when you look at him compared to other Hall of Famers, he's right at that line. He's right at that line of Hall of Famers. I think he's going to be on my card. If I had my card, I would have Beltran in.
And see, he's the one that I would really have to sit down and think about. And I probably would give him the check. But it would be one of those that I could completely understand. He would be like, if I only got 5, he would maybe be my 6th guy or something like that. He would be the guy that I would really have to sit there and go back and forth on potentially picking.
They haven't compared on Baseball Reference. They haven't have him compared to Andre Dawson, Billy Williams, Al Kaline, and Tony Perez. And see, that's enough for me.
Doggy.
Yeah.
Next guy on the list, I think, is probably the one. In fact, he might even be the only surefire on this list this year. Adrian Beltre. I think he's in.
So I did not have Adrian Beltre in, actually. I don't feel like when I was looking at his numbers, because see, the problem is like now we're getting into the baseball that, from when I was younger, right? A lot of these guys were guys that.
And see, it's funny here. Chase brings up this point that he says you're the big haul and I'm the small haul, whereas now we're completely flipping on this.
And I generally am. He's got 93.5 career WAR,
which is,
and he's in the 3,000 hit club, which generally puts you in 2 Gold Gloves, 4 All-Stars, or 5 All-Star. No, sorry, 3 Gold Gloves.
Matt's hard.
Yeah, he had a ton. No, because it's all spread out.
I think it says it up top.
I didn't find the number. Oh yeah, probably. But yeah, I mean, when you look at his numbers, I mean, they're fantastic. He is sitting at like I said, 93.5 career WAR, and
so you're really going to put Bobby Abreu in and not Adrian Beltre?
Not this year.
And see, I don't agree with the whole not this year. If he's in the Hall, he's in the Hall. Paul says there's a lot in the Hall you take out. Yeah, there's a lot that are in the Hall that should be in the Hall, and there's a lot that aren't in the Hall that probably should be in the Hall with that as well. Okay, let's go quickly because there's a lot on this list, and we are running. We're just already almost at 30 minutes here today. Mark Burley.
Nope.
No. Yeah, great. Now, that's not your bias, is it?
No.
But I feel like you don't have. Was Mark Burley a hateable guy?
No. I just don't think he did enough pitching wise.
Here's the next one. Bartolo Colon.
See, okay. So I don't think Bartolo Colon is a Hall of Fame guy. His numbers don't back it up. He played forever, and he's well loved. But
I want him to be in the Hall of Fame. Just because
I thought you were going to pick him just because of your. There's another guy that's on this list that I think you're going to pick that probably doesn't deserve to be in. But
I know you're talking about, and we'll have to mention that. Yeah, and I agree with Paul. I love him. He's not in the Hall.
Yes.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Give him his own spot in the wing. Give him his own spot in the wing.
The Bartolo wing, yes. Adrian Gonzalez. I say no.
No. He fell off really. The guys that fall off really, really hard, you kind of wonder about that as far as like why they fell off so hard.
Todd Hilton.
All very good.
Yes. I vote for Todd Hilton.
Yeah.
Screw the Colorado bias that some people will say. I would vote for Todd Helton. I mean, you got to think in that period there, in that 2000 to 2008,
he was the only reason. He was the only reason to watch that team for quite a while.
And he was one of the best hitters in the game. And that's why I would vote for Todd Helton. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that is going to be super close because I think you need about 70%.
Yep.
He's going to be in that 68 to 72 range. So Chase is on my side with that. Paul is on your side, Leroy. I think he's going to be back and forth. Matt Holliday, I both think we can agree on this and say no. And that's not just because he was a Cardinal.
Absolutely is my bias. Part of that absolutely.
Mine is not. I can take my bias hat off. Next guy on the list is Torrey Hunter.
Oh, I love Torrey, man, but I looked at his stats again today, and there's just not enough there. Love Torrey though, man.
Well, he was going to drink Bud Light earlier, Daniel, but he can't do that.
I didn't want to drink Bud Light and get lectured, so I was drinking Coors.
Next one, we might need to mute Paul for a second on this one because I don't know that he'll be able to take his unbiased hat off. Richard, patience. We're going in alphabetical order. Andrew Jones.
Another one that should be in, based off of his numbers and his stolen bases. There was nobody flashier than Andrew Jones for a while, but I don't think he gets in. Unfortunately, I don't have him on my list.
And see, I don't either. I think he's wow. I'm actually really surprised. Paul says no. I thought he would do.
But he's another guy that fell off really sharply at the end of his career.
Exactly what Chase says. And
when that happens, that really that bugs me.
Get it trending, Daniel. Get it trending. I'll wear a hat. I don't care with that. Next guy on the list, Victor Martinez.
No,
I agree. Next guy on the list, this is our turn to mute Chase, Joe Mauer.
Okay, so I love Joe Mauer, and I hope he gets in eventually. Injuries absolutely killed his career. I think Joe Mauer falls on the same path as Mark Pryor, where Mark Pryor probably should have gotten in if he would have stayed healthy. Love Joe. Hope he gets in someday, but I don't have him on my list for this year.
Ooh, Chase says he's a top 5 catcher of all time. Oof. I think it'd be one of those things that the injuries are what keeps him out. Is that if he would have been healthy, he would be in. Yeah. But because he was hurt so much, and that's just one of those things that it sucks.
I love Joe. Listen, I lived in Minnesota for a long time. I know what Joe Mauer means to Minnesota. When him and Mark Pryor came into the league at the same time, there was a lot of discussion over who the Cubs should get. The Cubs got Pryor. The Twins got Mauer. Love that man to death. I really, really do. Just don't see it happening, especially not year one.
Andy Pettitte.
Pettitte, I had back and forth. Those were some very good Yankee teams that Andy Pettitte pitched on. I say yes for Pettitte. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I say yes for Andy Pettitte.
And see, I'd say no.
Yep.
I'd say no on him. I feel like he's another one of the Hall of Very Good. There's a lot of Hall of Very Good on this list.
There is a lot on this list that there's a lot on this list that if they were like, yeah, he's in, I'd be like, yeah, okay. There's not too many on this list that would make me go, ooh, no.
I don't necessarily disagree with Chase with here. You cannot vote for Abreu and not Mauer. Chase says not possible. I don't necessarily.
I didn't say I was not voting for Mauer. I said I wasn't voting for Mauer this year.
Listen, Dane, just 10 people watching. Coors is missing a prime opportunity for sponsoring. And see, Daniel, what's funny is that that's actually a 12-ounce can in his hand. It's just he's got such small hands.
It is not. It is. Well, shoot.
Does your boss know you're doing this in your office? Next guy on the list. Brandon Phillips.
See, all right.
And this is the guy you were mentioning earlier, was it not?
Yes. I feel like Sam has like.
Can I bring you a stat here before?
You can. I will treat it.
Brandon Phillips is one And see, I agree with what Chase says here. You either vote for him or you're not. You can't say he's hard.
But that's how the process is.
And see, I don't, and I that's what I don't like about the Hall of Fame is I hate the whole, well, I don't think he's a first ballot. If he's a Hall of Famer, he's a Hall of Famer. That's just I agree with Chase when it comes to that.
That's why
Brandon Phillips.
That's why you get blocked from chats.
Brandon Phillips is one of 6 second basemen in Major League Baseball history to have 200 home runs and 200 stolen bases. The list: Joe Morgan, Roberto Alomar, Ryan Sandberg. Is that how you say Ryan? I've never heard of that man before.
Leave that man's name out of your mouth.
Craig Biggio and Ian Kinsler.
Okay, all right.
With that being said,
the Hall of very good.
And see, I'm not even sure he's in that. And I love Brandon Phillips. Yes, I love Brandon Phillips. He is a slam dunk Reds Hall of Famer. Slam dunk Reds Hall of Famer. And I'll be glad when he does get in.
Joe Mauer is a slam dunk Minnesota Twin Hall of Famer.
In fact, it wouldn't even shock me if Joe Mauer's already in. But I do agree and say Brandon Phillips was no. I think if he would have had about 2
he couldn't even beat Darwin Barney for a freaking.
Yep, you've been muted. Next person on the list is Manny Ramirez.
Oh.
No.
Man, the problem with
I see what you did there.
Yeah. The problem with Manny is there's a lot of connections still to steroids with Ramirez. And I don't think he gets in because of that. I don't think he had enough numbers to get in regardless, but that's definitely going to hurt him.
He had over 500 home runs, though, did he not?
He did. Yeah. I just don't see it.
Jose Reyes.
Nope.
Yeah, no. I really liked. I feel like if he would have continued on his Mets trend, like when he was with the Mets, yes. Like he was on the right trend. And then as soon as he left New York, it was just like.
And he's another one that fell right off.
Alex Rodriguez. And I'll say this right away. Absolutely not. I would not vote for him.
Absolutely not?
Absolutely not. Under no circumstances.
Why?
Steroids. I would not vote for that reason. And this is just my opinion. He cheated. He got caught multiple times. And that's the biggest thing. Multiple times.
Yes.
And suspended multiple times.
Yes.
Because of that, I would not vote for him.
And he destroyed the Florida Marlins franchise when he was their GM too. So yeah, no day.
Listen, Dane, my opinion is, and Paul says he's a prick, if that counts for something.
He is a giant.
And he is also an awful color analyst. Awful for baseball.
So bad GM, bad color, bad attitude. Boy, you guys are just softening him up, right?
Francisco Rodriguez. K-Rod.
He had such a great very good career.
Yeah, and I think I'd probably agree for this. And Daniel says, roids make the game fun, quit hating. Maybe that's true, but it's still against the rules.
Listen, the only two Hall of Famers that I liked that were steroid guys were Sosa and McGuire. That was it.
And see, K-Rod's another one of those guys that is on the fence. I might actually vote for him just because he was in that period one of the best closers in the game. I mean, there were years where he was better than Mariano Rivera. Like, he was in that conversation as being one of the best closers in the game. I would almost consider voting for him. I'm not saying that I would.
Chase ain't going to like me in about 2 minutes.
Oh, gosh. Oh. Jimmy Rollins. Hall of very good.
Boy,
Hall of very good.
He was amazing for about 2 or 3 years where he was the best in the business, but no, not
Hall of very good for him.
Not on Rollins.
Gary Sheffield. This is Gary Sheffield's last chance to make the Hall of Fame.
The man should have been in 3 years ago. Yes. I will vote for Gary Sheffield. No, you don't say yes on anyone, Paul.
I think Paul did say yes on Adrian Beltre.
Yeah. Sheffield deserves to be in. Sheffield deserves to be in 3 years ago. Yes. And maybe that's my childhood popping through just a little bit of my love for Gary Sheffield, but my goodness, Gary absolutely deserves to be in, and it's a crime that he's not in yet.
And see, I'm in kind of that realm of
Sam.
He's another one of those guys that is so close.
His numbers are fantastic, though. Hold on. His numbers are.
It's just he's so close. I don't want to be the guy that gives a guy a pity vote just because it's his last chance.
Well, I would have voted for him a while ago. He is above on 3 of the 5 Hall of Fame stats that are in here. Like the numbers that they use to figure out Hall of Fame numbers, he's ahead on 3 of them. His comparisons are Chipper Jones, Mel Ott, and Reggie Jackson, and Ken Griffey Jr. In fact, he's got better numbers than Ken Griffey Jr. according to the similarity scores. 60.5 career WAR. His JAWS is 49.3. I'm telling you, when you look at his advanced stats, Gary Sheffield was the man, and he absolutely deserves to be in. And I can't even believe that we're having this discussion.
James Shields.
No.
Chase Utley.
No.
Omar Vizquel.
No.
Billy Wagner.
Yes. Again. And that's why I was saying Chase is going to be so mad at me because I'm a huge Billy Wagner fan.
Yes, I agree. I loved Billy Wagner.
Nobody more dominant in an era when steroids were still running rampant. Billy Wagner shut teams down. He was an absolute beast. His slider was ridiculous. There was nobody better for a long time than Billy Wagner. Another one that deserves to absolutely be in. Get him in.
Yes, I agree completely. The last guy on the list, David Wright. No.
Again, if he stays healthy, David Wright is Joe Mauer. If David Wright stays healthy, we are talking about him in higher circles.
And see, Chase, I don't disagree with that. K-Rod's just as good as Wagner. Don't understand how he's an automatic yes, but K-Rod isn't even considered. He's considered to me. And I don't know. And I think David Wright in like Paul said, and if Paul is saying a Met is close, he's close. I got to know how deep that cut, Paul.
Let me look at David Wright's advanced stats.
So my only 3 givens that I would have voted for: Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and Billy Wagner.
So David Wright's advanced stats are rather low, to be honest with you. 88, 74, and 36. 49.2 career WAR, 44.3 JAWS. His comparisons is Ken Caminiti, Hanley Ramirez, and Manny Machado. And
see, Machado out of that group is probably the only Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I mean, Machado's got to keep on trending in the right direction on that.
If he would have stayed healthy, man.
You know what we got to do now, right?
Since
we are already about 15 minutes behind where we usually need to be, is we got to do this.
All-Star game. David Wright made 12 All-Star games.
That doesn't surprise me. He's a fan favorite, and that's why All-Star games are not necessarily the biggest fan out. It's time for everyone's favorite segment.
Oh, God dang. Hold
Paul
on.
said it.
Type in the chat.
Leroy's logos.
See, they hear the music, they get all excited about it.
Yes, it's award-winning. Award-winning Leroy's logos. It was named the winner of the best logo-themed segment on podcasts about broadcasting. Can you believe it? Did you know that, Leroy? I didn't know if I was breaking that to you.
I'm glad to know we're number 1, baby.
We might be the only one, but hey, if you're not first, you're last. Wise man once said that. If you never played along this segment, I have 3 college logos. It's simple. Leroy just has to tell me what school the logo is, and then of those 3, there's a theme. Leroy, you are now hitting 393 on the year. You got 2 out of 4 last week. Paul says, we aren't winning any awards. You keep digging deep like you have been. Apparently, it is sponsored by Coors as well, Leroy's logo. Leroy, 1, 2, or 3?
1. Stop. Yeah, I'm with Paul. Stop digging so deep. Ooh, the Norseman.
The number 1. Door number 1. What school is this, Leroy?
That's the Norseman.
Benny Hill is trying to pull you through, Leroy.
I know.
Door 1 is who?
No, it's like no.
Come on.
They're the Norsemen. I just can't remember what school they're from.
Do you have a guess?
No, I don't.
I'll tell you this, Leroy. You would have been wrong in saying that they're the Norsemen because they're not.
What are?
It is Cleveland State Vikings.
Oh,
Cleveland State Vikings.
Yeah, failed.
I actually felt like that one was going to be one that you would have known. That's not a good sign moving forward. 2 or 3?
Great. Awesome.
2 or 3? Oh no, Leroy's gone. Oh no, he's rage quit. Are you still there, Leroy? Oh no, Leroy's gone. He moves his computer. And Leroy has disappeared. My goodness, he did rage quit, Paul. And here's the thing. My next one was going to potentially be easy for him as well. I don't know what just happened. I bet you're right, Christy, is that his computer just died. We were having such great conversation and everything. I guess I'm going to pull him off the screen here and just wait and see what the problem is. Gosh, Leroy's computer probably did die or something like that. Give him a minute. We'll come back. Well, I guess it's just me here talking with our good friends. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. Leroy has officially left the room, so I'm wondering if that's a good sign or not. Apparently, he's using his wife's computer, he says here today. But, Paul keeps complaining. Paul, you keep complaining that my logos are too hard. That was one that, and since Leroy's probably not watching right now, I can bring you, is that we used a previous time. Uh-oh. Did you rage quit?
No, my battery, it said low battery, and then 2 seconds later it died. Shut up, Christy.
Can Coors get you a new one? Okay. Would you like door number 2 or 3? We just thought you rage quit.
2.
Okay, this is the one you should get. I have faith in you, Leroy.
All right. Providence.
Are you sure?
Yes. Thank God.
Good job. Look at you go there. In fact, I'll even play it a little louder for you. Good job. See? Maybe it was just you needed to leave and
come back later.
Come back later, and that was going to help you out. So now you've got door number 3, which, if I'm being honest with you, Leroy, you know I like to rank them 1, 2, or 3.
Yep. 3's the hardest.
It is. And if you pull this one out of your rear end,
the blue spark.
this one's tough. This one's tough. They're trying to help you out with these here. I mean, listen, our comment section, if Paul says, I bet it's the Spartans, Leroy or Christy says it's the Spartans, Daniel says it's the Spartan Trojans. I mean, they're being a big help for you.
Yeah, I thought it was West Coast too. I definitely thought it was West Coast.
You got nothing? You got nothing?
I don't.
I was gonna say this one was our tough one, so I'm sorry, Leroy. I gotta hit you up with one of these.
It's a nice logo though.
That is UNC Greensboro. UNC Greensboro. So, Leroy, what is the theme for this week? We've got Cleveland State, Providence, and UNC Greensboro. What is the theme
Well, see,
between these.
I was gonna say they're all Warriors, but Providence kind of throws it off, man.
They're all Warriors. I guess you are correct. I don't think a Friar is very Warrior sense, but what is the theme?
Providence threw it off.
Yeah. What is the theme? Come on, you can get this one. I've got faith in you. So again, UNC Greensboro, Providence, and the Cleveland State Vikings. What's the theme?
All teams east of the Mississippi River.
That is technically accurate, but not the theme. Come on. I get 15 more seconds. Come on, you can get this. I've got faith in you. Just look. You've got this.
They're all gray logos.
I'm sorry, I tried.
I still like my east of the Mississippi River answer. So
they all have like humans as their logos. That is the theme of this one. What kind of Friar? Air or deep? I don't know which one. All are men. So Paul was close in getting that. I would have accepted that. I would have accepted.
I am so excited for Sam's drivers today. I am so excited for Sam's drivers today.
So, Leroy, you got 1 out of 3 in today's thing. Would you like to ask or answer first? We're jumping into our play clock segment, to the point in the pod where we have each other asking each other questions. We have 40 seconds to answer said question that we do not know what is coming.
Answer.
Leroy, there was an interesting question on Reds Twitter today. I know I saw Tony Rose popping in here, fellow Reds fan. Shout out to Tony. And the question was this, and this was centered around the Reds, but we could clearly throw this into the Blackhawks or the Bears, but we're going to just say Cubs. Or maybe it should be better for the Bears for year-round. Would you rather have, in a 10-year stretch, a guaranteed World Series, but the other 9 years are losing seasons, or all 10 years are 90-plus wins, but you're not guaranteed to win?
Ask a Braves fan how he feels. See what he has to say. Listen. There is nothing that will take away November 2016. I will take my one World Series win and lose every year for the rest of the time. Listen, I completely understand, having a successful team multiple years, but listen, there is nothing that will take away that year of being a great baseball team. Give me that World Series ring every single time. I don't even think twice about it. I'm hitting that button all day long.
Is it the same answers for the Bears?
Yes. Yes. Actually, even more for the Bears or the Blackhawks. Yeah.
And see, that was the argument. There was one person on Twitter that was saying that they would rather have the 90 wins because then you're in it every year, whereas somebody else was arguing that just that one championship is worth everything else because you can never take it away.
But I'm telling you, the Braves are a very good example of that. The Braves were a dominant team in all of the 90s and only had one World Series win to show for it, and that was against Cleveland. So, I will take that World Series ring every single time.
I'm ready.
Okay. NASCAR numbers in attendance, people that actually show up to the races, is way down. And it's not just NASCAR that's running into that situation. Other motorsports are kind of running into that same problem as well, although maybe not necessarily as pronounced. Sam, you're in charge of NASCAR. What are you doing to put more butts in seats?
My first job is I'm resigning immediately because I can't do that job without question. Honestly, I don't think that I don't think there's anything you can do. I really think that motorsports are dying, and I'm not sure that there is an answer to fix them. And I hate it because, 15 years ago, I wouldn't miss a NASCAR race. Like, I would watch every single one. I had all the die-cast cars and everything. But now, it's just, I think a lot of it has to do with, it's ticket prices, it's this, it's that. And then also, there's so much other stuff for you to consume. You've got streaming. You can watch now anything on TV. I don't know. I don't think it's fixable. And I know you might disagree, but
You'd be surprised, Paul, how little they do ovals now.
yeah, for that exact reason, is they're trying to make it more entertaining when it comes to that. My first move, though, would be bringing NASCAR back to Kentucky. That would be my first move. Leroy, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be the guy that's going to ask you, what are you thankful for? I'm not that guy. So, Leroy, I want you to tell me what is the best, like on your plate. This side has to be on there. And then what side do you say doesn't deserve to be on the plate at all?
So my mother will not like me for this answer, but I need to have deviled eggs and actually macaroni and cheese, which is crazy because growing up as a kid, neither of those were on my plate because they weren't made at my house. Now as an adult, I absolutely love them. Rutabaga is what my mom used to love. Yes, rutabaga. My mom loves rutabaga, and we would always have it
for Thanksgiving.
Yes, for Thanksgiving, and that is something that I can easily just push off the side of my plate. But yeah, if we're going normal Thanksgiving dishes, honestly, green bean casserole. I've never been a fan of green bean casserole.
That's a common one. Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't gonna count your rutabaga answer because I've never heard of that being a Thanksgiving dish before today. See, for me, you want to know my hot take? I know I'm not the one that I can actually answer this.
Yeah, I can't have them with the actual berries. It needs to be the regular.
So you got to have the can, like the Jello kind, pretty much.
You slide it out, yeah.
And see, I'm kind of with Paul. I like the sweet potatoes, but I'm one of those things. Daniel, I think you deserve to get booted now. I feel like your mom would almost appreciate that. Your dad definitely would appreciate that comment, though.
Yes.
Yes. Can I kick stuffing off?
Yeah.
That would be mine. It's just not for me. Not for me. And I do like the sweet potatoes, but for me, the sweet potatoes is like I have it once a year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like and really, it's just I get my little side of it, and I don't even need the leftovers. Like it's just like it's a one-time thing. I enjoy it, but okay, I'm ready to answer.
College basketball has their beginning of the year tournaments. Usually they're in like the Bahamas or Hawaii or Maui. All that. Maui. As a fan, I never got into those holiday tournaments. I always waited for conference play to start. What about you? You're a UK fan. Do you take stock in are you an active watcher of the tournament games, or are you more of a hey, let's wait till we get into the SEC before we start watching college basketball?
Okay, you're asking a Kentucky fan if he watches college basketball year round.
No, I'm watching a man who is very busy.
Yes. So if you missed the beginning of the show, if the beginning of the show wasn't a thing, I would have been watching the Maui Invitational all season because it's always really good basketball. I love it. What I don't love is that John Calipari at Kentucky refuses to play in those tournaments. He won't play in it. And I hate it because it's great for the fans. It's a great product, and it starts to introduce people to college basketball, especially during this stretch where college football is starting to wrap up. But those early week games, they're fantastic.
I never thought
But again, you're asking.
I never thought about that though. But
which part?
About the fact that you're introducing people to the new season that don't, yeah.
Paul says he's not a fan of deviled eggs. My grandma made the best deviled eggs. She made the best deviled eggs.
My wife's are pretty good. She always forgets the paprika though.
Christy, that was him that said that. If you want, you can go ahead and leave the blanket on the couch for him tonight.
No, she keeps them under lock and key, Sam. She's got them in a little like lock and key box in the fridge. Like I can't even get to them.
Does she really?
She locks them up, man.
Probably for good reason, because they'd already be gone, would they not? They are on the eggs in the fridge.
Yes.
Okay. Take the shots. Okay, Leroy, time for your drivers.
All right, let's get to it.
Paul says, next week you won't be drinking because you might not be breathing, Leroy.
Not the first time, won't be the last. All right, you guys know how this works. I'm going to give Sam a driver. All Sam has to do is tell me whether or not they're a NASCAR driver, IndyCar driver, or an F1 driver. And we're going to start with...
And I have turned the comments off.
Okay, we're going to start with this guy right here for driver one.
Oh, I can see all three of them down there at the bottom. They're kind of small, but... Hey, put those back. That was going to help me. Oh, gosh. Oh, you made it blurry, whatever you just did. That doesn't help me. I don't know if you did anything or not, but it made it blurrier.
Oh, there was a little button that says if you want to stop sharing, and all I did was click that button.
Interesting.
Is he still blurry?
I mean, it's doable. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I'm gonna say he is I'm down to Indy or F1, so I have a 50-50 shot. I'm gonna go Indy, but he's F1. F1.
That is actually NASCAR. That's Jensen Button, who raced two NASCAR races.
That is not a real piece.
That
is not a real person.
Absolutely.
Jensen Button?
Yeah. Yes.
Jensen Button. Okay, now, Paul, back me up here. Leroy, your logo's now. I'm pulling out Division 4 schools next week now.
How does it feel? It's not so fun now, is it? Huh? Yeah.
Jensen Button isn't a real person. I at least give you real schools. How many followers on Instagram or on Twitter does this man even have? You can pull up the next guy. Jensen Button.
Go ahead, look.
He doesn't even have a Twitter.
Okay, well, whose fault is like? Yeah, wait.
Oh, I guess I might have spelled his name wrong.
Yeah, it's Jen.
Hey, it says here F1. It's not what I guessed, but still.
That's not what he raced this year. He raced NASCAR this year.
If I would have guessed F1, I would have gotten my answer there because it says here, good old Wikipedia says he is a F1 driver because he won the 2009 F1 championship.
Yeah, like 15 years ago. If we do that, we can say Romain Grosjean was an F1 driver. Why am I even having this conversation with you? You don't even know any of these guys.
I did know that he was British though, because the W in the background is a grocery store in Great Britain.
Yeah, Waitrose. Good job. Oh my gosh, that was good.
My grandfather was British. You know this.
You ready for driver two?
Yes. You're going Takuma Sato in different areas.
Kind of.
You were going in a different order. That was driver number 1, you liar. Is that Sato, the IndyCar driver?
That is not Sato, no.
It's really racist. I'm just kidding. Is he an IndyCar driver? I'm going to stick with that guess.
Are you sticking with Indy?
Yes.
No, that is F1. That is Zhao Ganyu, who drives for Alfa Romeo.
Good guess, Paul.
And he's Chinese. He's not Japanese.
Thanks. Now you're just making me look even more racist. My goodness.
Christy's like, he's got a wider face. Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm shutting up. Go to the next one. You're paying the price next week.
I've been paying the price for the last 3 weeks, Sam.
I'm cracking my knuckles right now.
Paul.
I've been saving.
Paul.
I'm pulling out. I've got a folder filled with Team Center colleges played that I've been broadcasting. I'm just gonna pull those out.
Paul.
Good old Oglethorpe. We did Warren Wilson the other day. Averett. No shot you're getting any of those. That guy looks kind of familiar, so I'm gonna say NASCAR, but I'm probably wrong.
And that is IndyCar. Has Agustin Canapino, who drives for Juncos Hollinger Racing.
Yeah, Leroy said NASCAR to the last guy. Okay, there you go. You happy?
Yes.
Are you happy? Are you pleased with yourself now?
Yes,
How about we go into the picks contest where yours truly is winning 78-61? What WTF?
You feel better? Yeah. Do I feel better? Says the man who's been literally giving me like the School of the Blind or Indiana University, Purdue University, Indiana.
Ooey Pooey is a very legitimate. One.
All those drivers have won championships.
Mister, I've raced 2 NASCAR races. Paul, back me up here. I love that we've gotten to the point now. Paul's like, Dad. Christy wants to know, how does he not know his face?
I was wondering how you didn't recognize them too, because I've definitely watched multiple. So listen, Augustine, I'll tell you a story really, really quick because we're already past time, so I might as well. Augustine Canapino.
Do you have another Coors waiting back there for you?
Augustine Canapino started racing.
Sounds like it's empty.
I still got some. Augustine Canapino started racing this last year. He didn't speak any English when he came to America to race IndyCar. By May, he was able to hold a conversation, which is in 2 months to be able to learn English to a point where your crew chiefs are able to tell you stuff over the intercom and over the radio. That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. So, Dan, go market for me. What am I paying you for?
Wait a minute. How are you affording to pay him? Have you not been sharing that money?
He definitely learned all the cuss words first. I mean, listen, when I started learning Russian, I learned all the cuss words first.
You got to start showing the logo again. How about some picks here, Leroy? We both had good weeks last week.
Yeah.
Apparently, Daniel, I haven't seen any of this money. Kind of wondering as to where we're pulling out all this money and why Leroy. We now know how Leroy's afford to get his drink tonight. Is that
all 57 cents from Spotify, man?
Well, I don't know why I haven't seen the 33.5 cents.
I was waiting for us to get a whole $1. I was going to send you 50 cents.
50 cents. My goodness. I that would buy me anything.
Jacob's at my office, Christy.
Oh,
Christy asked who the hell was here.
Oh, I didn't even hear anybody.
You do your stories now.
Yeah, I'm going to read my news so that I can come in later.
I love that,
Yeah.
Hi, Jacob.
Yeah. Sam says hi.
Hold on, Sam.
Hello. Do you want to help Leroy with his picks? He probably needs your help.
I did good this week. What are you talking about?
Okay, Leroy. Then we'll start it off. The Governor's Cup.
Oh, jeez.
Kentucky travels to Louisville on Saturday afternoon.
Y'all better win this game, man.
Leroy, you taking the Cats or the Cards?
Kentucky.
I'm going to do this. Throw the L's down, but I'm going to pick Louisville. That hurts. Northwestern at Illinois.
Hat.
So it's my pick first. I'll pick Illinois.
Illinois is starting a brand new quarterback this week. This is the battle for the hat. This is the battle for the Abraham Lincoln hat. Northwestern is
You mean Kentucky's Abraham Lincoln?
Or Indiana's Abraham Lincoln or Illinois' Abraham Lincoln?
He was born like 20 minutes that way.
Are we really going to do this?
Way.
Are we
yes,
really going
Yes, absolutely. I'm picking Illinois. And I'm sure you're picking Northwestern.
Northwestern's going to smoke them. Let's go, Cats. Bowl eligible. That team won one game last year, went through a whole scandal, and they're going to a bowl game. What's Colorado doing? Oh, yeah, a whole lot of nothing.
Feel better now?
Yes. Thank you.
Leroy, Western Kentucky travels down to Florida International to take on the Panthers to close their regular season.
They're bowl eligible also.
They are.
I will go with WKU.
I will as well. I'm pretty sure we've picked WKU to win almost every game this year, and we've been wrong most weeks.
Most weeks. Yeah, most weeks.
You know what? Because I can, I'm doing this. I'm switching the Leroy.
Are you switching your pick?
No, I'm just going in a different order today.
Oh, okay.
Leroy, the Bears travel to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Who you got? Or no, it's my pick first. It's my pick first on this. Right. That's right. I'm gonna take the Vikings to beat the Bears.
Oh yeah, easily. Does that game get flexed? Has it been flexed yet?
They would have already had to have made that decision. You have to make it 10 days the week prior. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, you have to make that decision like 14 days in advance for them to do it.
Okay.
Daniel picks the Vikings. Did you pick the Vikings?
I did. I picked the Vikings.
Okay. Leroy. On Sunday afternoon, Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals host that team near West Virginia. Who you got? Their name does not get mentioned on this podcast.
Well, then just write them down because that's who I'm picking.
Listen, I can't do it. I will not do it. Who
That's
dey?
fine. That's fine. Go down with the ship with your salute up in the air.
I'm up by 17 points.
Yep. You go down. Go down with the ship. Yep, absolutely.
Says the Bears fan.
Hey, listen. I've picked the other team almost every single week this year.
So it's a perfect transition into Leroy. 5-6. Utah State travels to face the 4-7 Lobos of New Mexico.
What are you doing?
Who you got?
New Mexico. Let's go.
And I'll go with the Aggies of Utah State.
Okay.
Leroy, what's your first game of the week?
The game.
Where is it?
It is in Michigan. For those of you who don't know what the game is, number 2, Ohio State takes on number 3, Michigan. Michigan has won the last 2 years, but they will be without their fabled coach. And it should be actually in reality, between you and me, it actually should be a pretty good year. A pretty good game. Sorry, pretty good game.
Christy, yes, Joe Burrow's out for the season.
Way to rub it in, Christy.
Yeah, thanks for making me have to go cry.
He hasn't stopped crying all week.
Yes, no. I'm going to agree with Daniel, and I'm going to pick Michigan.
Interesting. See, I was going to pick Michigan too, but you already picked them. I'll go with Michigan. I've already given up this season. I'm tanking for next year. They're draft picks.
So let's talk about, when we're talking about rivalries, we can talk about one that's even better.
Yeah.
Because you can't have the best rivalry and not the best conference. So we got to go to the best conference in football and have the best rivalry in said conference. And now I'm just saying this just to get on your nerves. The Iron Bowl.
Yes.
Alabama playing really well. Travels, though, to Auburn. 6-5. Auburn coming off an embarrassing loss last week to New Mexico State.
Alabama absolutely needs this win if they want to have any hope of making the playoffs.
But you know these games.
I do.
It's you throw everything out the window.
Where's the game at?
It's in Auburn. The Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I'll go with Auburn. I'm going to regret it, but I'll go with Auburn.
Roll Tide. I'll pick Alabama. I think Alabama's playing really, really well right now. They're just playing really good.
Pretty good considering they don't have a quarterback.
Milrose playing really well.
Is he?
Milrose been playing a lot better as of late.
You know which quarterback's been playing really, really well? The LSU QB.
Oh, Jaden Daniels. He's probably the Heisman Trophy winner right now.
He's been fantastic as of late.
He's probably the Heisman Trophy winner. Okay, the final pick, Leroy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the final pick. Hold on. I had it written down. Hold on. I lost my tab.
It's okay. We're already an hour and 15 minutes deep, so what's another few seconds?
Hey, stop helping me. Oh, yeah. Actually, we're gonna go with tomorrow. Listen, this is gonna be a blowout, but I gotta pick it anyway. The Packers take on the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. Always a big game between the two teams, regardless of what the standings are. Who do you think wins? I gotta pick first, right? Lions.
No, I pick first, and I'll pick the Lions. Can you do it?
Absolutely not. Lions.
I was gonna say you can't do it.
I can't do it. Listen, if the Lions were 1-11 and the Packers were 12-0, I couldn't do it, man. I can't.
So recapping our picks really weak. Leroy, we only agree on a couple of games this week. In fact, I'm looking. Of the 9 games, we only agree in 3 of them.
which means we're going to finish even, like 4-4.
It's interesting with this. So we agree that Western is going to defeat FIU. We agree that the Vikings are going to beat the Bears, and we agree that Michigan is going to beat Ohio State. We're separate on Kentucky, Louisville, Northwestern Illinois, Bengals, Steelers, New Mexico, Utah State, Auburn, Alabama. No, I guess we're the same on the Lions as well. So we're 4.
Okay,
but we're separate a lot. So Leroy, you could win for the first time since the opening week of the year, where you had the only option to pick up a point, and I didn't have an option to pick up a point. That's your only win of the year, but you've tied 2 straight weeks, so you're trending in the right direction.
We're getting
here
there
over these last couple of weeks.
It's crazy because when you watch the guys in the NFL do their picks, like you always expect them to be way better than what they are. And
do you want to know? So I have our percentages more accurate because that actually has our basing off of the points that we have, because there have been 117 total points, but not both of us have 117. I think we both have less than that because there have been weeks where the other person's been able to gain points and so on. So I have gotten 68.4% of my picks correct. Leroy, you've gotten 52.6. So that's percentages, which I think about this. No, Paul, sorry. I think we're starting to break up. And plus we're too long or too late on time.
Yeah,
I did mention that team.
That's it right there. Oh yeah, Dan wanted me to message that Greg Popovich gave a
yes. I saw that somebody left the comment. I think Paul commented about it earlier. He got on the mic and said,
"Stop booing Kawhi."
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi.
And yeah, as Paul that commented earlier about Kawhi, and it was funny, he pretty much said, yeah, stop booing. It reminded me a lot of when Sam Wyche, the old Bengals coach, got on the mic and said, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati, stop being, and it's just kind of funny with that. What do you want us to talk about, Andrews? We talked about it earlier. Yes, he's hurt. No, Logan Wilson is not dirty. You were going to get me all fired up and angry.
Dude, you should have seen him all weekend. Oh, I'm going to grab into Sam's face. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that.
No,
and then
you can't do that.
Burrow gets hurt, and he's like, I'm going to keep my comments to myself.
Yes. Because if Joe Burrow plays, Bengals win that game.
No, all you got to do is say Pete Rose is a better hitter than Joey Votto. That's all you need to do to get Sam going.
Now that'll get the rounding third group.
Oh my gosh,
group.
they were just fired up over that post, man.
We're way too late. Leroy, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, even to our Canadian friends that I know are watching. Paul, they shouldn't ban that form of tackling. We need to almost save that for another day. It's football. We can't keep, like, at some point we're going to have like two-hand touch, and we're going to have to figure out some way to do it. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Paul, good luck frying your turkey. To those that don't celebrate. Oh,
really quick. I just want to give a shout out to the St. Louis Cardinals, who now have the 2023 leader in runs allowed, the 2023 leader in hits allowed, and the 2023 leader in home runs allowed. Good job, boys.
Feel better now?
Please. Anytime we can bash the Cardinals on this show, I'm all for it.
We'll be back Wednesday. Next week, we're going to start our basketball picks.
Yes.
So I know we probably could have thrown in a pick for me, but since I'm up by enough, I won't take a free point this week and picking your games. But basketball starts for me next week. Our girls really gets started for you next week, I know.
Our girls are 3-0 right now and dominating all the teams that they're playing. Really excited for this season. The season for girls basketball should be pretty good.
Yep, I look forward to it. We'll talk about that next week as well. And who knows what else could come up on next week's edition of From the Pressbox. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you all for watching. Love you all.